Alright, in this section we're going to be going over forecasting sales and scheduling. We broke into two videos just to kind of piecemeal it, as there's a lot involved in each section. You should be able to log in with your credentials. If you do not, please reach out to your district manager or general manager. When you are in the main platform, go ahead and click on the scheduling tab, and in here you're going to see 6 different buttons. Your employee schedule, scheduling your managers, time off requests where you can do availability and time off requests, forecasting sales, and reports that are applicable to scheduling. First one we're going to do is employee schedule. Go ahead and click on employee schedule, and you're going to see here that you can either use a previous week or you can use a blank sheet. I prefer after you set up probably after the first week that you use a previous week. For this example, I'm just going to use one that's already in the system, so I'm going to use a schedule start date of June 8th. I'm going to click continue, and it's going to bring you into the employee scheduling platform. Now, there's another video that's going to go over forecasting sales. You're going to want to watch that if you want to see your percentages labor against forecast, if you want to be able to have your recommended staffing schedule set up, but we'll go that in a different video. This is mainly just to show how to view your employees, sort it so it's easy to view, and make sure that you're not overscheduling an employee or scheduling them when they actually want the time off. So once you're at this page, we're going to start at the top. You're going to see if you have any shift pickups. If employees from their NCR Pulse app are going to be able to release shifts, and they're going to be able to want to have it approved by a general manager or somebody who's managing the schedule. So if you see pending approval up here, you know that there's an employee who wants to switch a shift. You have a few buttons over here. If you highlight on over it, it'll show you what those are. You have your notes section, a legend, which will tell you what the colors mean when you're in here. Special key notes. Very important that you keep as much information about the employees in here as possible, so that way you can just understand, or make sure you're not overscheduling, or if they you approve their time off. And down here you have a schedule report, which we'll view after you make your schedules. Now you have a lot of employees at the Blaze Pizzas, some that are dough preps, some that are managers, some that are AM, some that are PM, some that are part-time, and probably only 1 or 2 full-time employees. So some of you may want to view the whole world and schedule your employees that way. Others of you may want to go position by position throughout the week and then view it and make modifications that way. There's a lot of different options. Whatever works best for you is the way to go. Up here you're going to see your display options. You can do the drop down. You can see all the scheduled shifts that I have, everything including people who don't have shifts, and some shifts that folks have wanted to change. Now right now I don't have any, so you're not going to see anything there. I'm going to keep, for the time being, all of my employees that I have open and viewable. I'm going to get rid of that so you can see it better. Down here you're going to see your schedule by. You can either do it by job code or you can do it by department, whatever makes most sense for you. And then down here you have other options to view just specific pieces. So if you're just concerned with scheduling all of your team members or making sure you schedule your dough preps, you're going to be able to see all that information available to you. Now over here I'm going to open this up. Most of these slides so you can view more information. As you can see, this is employee pertinent information. I'm going to have job codes in here. If you do have them, you're going to be able to see the amount of hours you've scheduled them for the entire week, the status, if there's any overtime that they've accrued so far, their employee ID. Now remember that it always should be the first 4 of your store number. So if you see any employees that are not that first 4, take a quick look, make sure they're either basic positions or employees that need to get fixed. You can group employees as front of the house, back of the house. If they're managers, you'll be able to see that in the employee profile. If you do schedule an employee, you'll see what time they started. For instance, if I set it right here, all of a sudden you see that they start at 4:30 a.m. And they're front of the house. You can also do ranking, which we explain in the employee maintenance section and video. Here you'll be able to say if it's a strong employee, weak employee, or any other sort of information you need in terms of expectations. When you're on a Saturday or a busy night, you want to have some of your rock stars on. Other nights, when you're maybe a new employee and they're getting their feet wet, you'll want to put them on certain days. So if I open this up and I say, oh man, it's not supposed to be a team trainer, it's supposed to be a different position, you're going to be able to come in here and see and be able to change it to any position you'd like. You can always unpost it or post it, and you can always look at their time off requests. If you see that it comes up in a different color, you're going to be able to pull that up once you double click into it and say, oh, they have a time off request. I'm going to delete the shift for now since we don't want to make this schedule. But you can easily see it's not too hard to schedule. So we're going to come over here and make a practice schedule. I'm going to come over here and go back to the actual positions that they are. I know that I'm going to need a few people early in the morning, probably at 9 or 10 a.m. You probably want to have folks in earlier, but this is just an example. Go ahead and go over here, 6.25 hours. You can see here that it has a B, which means that it already includes the break. So the system is intuitive in that sense. They also calculate overtime if that happens, so you don't have to do any extra work. We're going to come over here. You're going to see that there's +1 under staffing. That means that there's a body on here in every 15-minute interval. You can see that at 12:30 the system already includes the break because it's before the 5-hour mark. So that's how you can kind of confirm where their break is being taken in terms of how you scheduled. Now we can see that Hawkins or Marlone was a dough prep, so we're going to keep going. We need a couple people here in the afternoon. I'm just going to quickly go through and add these employees down here. Busiest time of the day. We don't need 2 dough preps. Keep going. Team member, team member, team member. Just basic examples. You can see now that I scheduled them less than 5 hours, so none of them have breaks. It's only when I schedule over 5 hours that a break is automatically included in the system. You're going to want to have your front of house managers, and you're going to want to have maybe 2 managers or a shift leader on. Again, you can see what time they came in. You can see how many total hours that you have. You can see how many total dollars you have that are actually spending in labor. And when you go over forecasting sales, you can see what percentage you're at. For guidance on what your percentage should be at when you start, go ahead and get together with your general manager and district manager, and they'll be able to guide you. I'm going to go here and just do some selections. You can always group it by schedule group. You can see that as I did it by a group, it separated it, front of the house, back of the house, manager. When I don't, it puts everybody at the top. It gives me everybody that I need to know. How many hours they are, and the totals. Now down here at the bottom you're going to see that you have your different days. You probably already noticed that in the front, but you're going to have to do each individual day. And here you have your weekly tab, which will be just another view of all the employees that you've scheduled for the week, but in just a different template. You're going to see your scheduled hours, any overtime that you've scheduled, the actual dollars, and your forecast per day. If you need to make edits, you can always make edits. But again, this is just another way for you to be able to view the report. You can make this full screen if it's not a big enough view for you. You can also shrink this piece so you're looking at just the times. You can always, again, go up here and look by departments, schedule just the front of the house. If I want to look at just those that I've scheduled as team members, which we know we've scheduled due to the video, you're going to really quickly see where everybody lies. I'm going to go back here. If you think that there's something wrong with the staffing, it's more of a guideline. It's going to take a few weeks for your stores to gain some sales history in order to forecast appropriately. Again, we'll go with that in a different section, but really down here is where you want to be looking. What is your forecasted percentage of sales based on what you're scheduling. Once you're done, you can go ahead and save it. Save it will automatically post the schedule. I'm going to not save it right now, but it's easy to do. For employees, as long as they have access to the NCR Pulse app, which again we have a video to show you how to get set up on that portion, they're going to be able to view their schedule about 2 minutes, a minute and a half after you upload the schedule. If you make changes, you can save it. It'll automatically populate their phone, but that is how to do the employee schedule.